So, Tony Brooks recently analyzed my golf swing. And Tony is on the Lion Golf Academy channel on YouTube. And one of his programs is called Red Light Live Golf Swing Analysis Show. And to get on that, I just sent in a front view and a down the line view of my golf swing to this email site, and he analyzed my golf swing. So here's my analysis. It's about 15 minutes long, and I hope you enjoy it.
This is one of I believe he said a 6 iron, if I'm not mistaken. Stephen, if you're on, just let me know if hopefully that is a 6 iron. But we're going to watch the swing, and we'll see that there is a lot of compensations here, but Stephen makes it work. Very arm swing. I don't know what your rotation is like, Stephen. I don't know if you suffer from any rotational issues, or if it's just this is just how you swung. One thing I found interesting about Stephen's swing is when he stands up out of his posture, he doesn't necessarily come back down to his posture. He stays in that upright position and then swings from there. And I believe one of the reasons is because of the lack of turn, you have to get your arms and hands more involved. And when your arms and hands get more involved, hey, Steven, yeah, okay, 6 iron, perfect. When your arms and hands do get more involved, they need more distance. So you have to stand up to create that distance, because if you don't, if you remain in your posture and you let go of your hand angle too soon, you're going to hit the ground 2 feet behind the ball, and then it's going to be not that fun. You're going to break some wrists, break some clubs. So some things we can look at. We can learn a lot from this swing too, because this is I would imagine, Steven, you probably hit the ball pretty accurate. Specifically, since it seems like you like to play a lot and hit a lot of golf balls, you might be suffering in some distance loss. But I can try and help point you in some directions for your distance. But if you could tell me, Stephen, if you have some issues with your rotations, bad left knee, hard to straighten at 71 years old. Okay, understood. So let's just take a look with all that in play. And let's see your basic setup here. So we're going to draw arches of the heels from both of them up to the sky. So we do see a little closed stance. That closed stance might help you with the feeling of getting some more turn. But let's take a look as we take that club back. We're also going to put something over his back brace line. And also, we're going to put something on top of his head to see how much he comes out of it. True, I hit it straight, but not very far. Okay, yeah, that's no problem. Now, Stephen, would you like more distance, or are you just looking for education to see, your cause and effect? And just let me know, because I can go many ways with this. I just don't want to steer you in the wrong direction if you don't want to go in that direction. So we can see this. It's a good job. He gets his upper body to turn. We do see a loss of spine angle right away. So we see him standing up. And the good thing about that, though, is your shoulders are relative to you standing up. So it's not like you're standing up and your left shoulder is going up higher. At least you're keeping things in relation to each other. That's definitely helps your playing work, too. You get to the top of your swing. You can get, even with you standing up, you can see your arms don't get much higher than that top plane line, which is great. One thing I am concerned with is just the butt of your club doesn't get deep enough back behind you. So more in this region will definitely help you get to the slot quicker and maybe increase your distance. So without even getting some turn involved, okay, just cause and effect, no problem. So without getting turning involved, if you wanted to increase your distance, you might want to think about getting your left arm a little bit lower. That lower left arm might help you get that club. If this is lower, it doesn't necessarily go lower straight away, because the arm length is going to be about here. So maybe there would be a good goal for you. So at least it'll get you a little bit closer to that center point, and then you could actually connect to the body a little bit sooner on the way down. But that's what I would recommend so far. But your top plane position, you can see your club is falling perfect to all your plane lines. So you've kind of shortcutted it there. And from here, you just kind of pull your arms back down. You can see the plane does change slightly. It's slightly steep, but that's expected when you don't have a lot of turn going on, just because it's really hard for you to get this club shaft angle in this position, because now all of a sudden you're going to have hands like Zeus and try and figure out some release point that's really fast. You remember that release point happens in a split second. So unless you have godlike timing, it's very hard. So this is a very effective swing. And you can see here the club face is still somewhat open to your new spine angle. And then you go ahead and you start to shut it down. You can see that right elbow kind of pulls back down into the target, which is the golf ball. Not a lot of turn, which is okay. I mean, this, like you said, there's a cause and effect. You do see that you stay within your new spine angle here, so you don't necessarily come up even more. So I find it just, you could see you've developed this swing over some time, but it's really hard to stay in this posture, because if you're in this posture, your shoulders would have to be here, and for you to rely on your hands and arms that much. So there's a couple options you can do, and I'm not sure. I'm trying to swing like Dan Alton and using the Mike Malaskin, but yeah, I read that email. It's a very interesting, excuse me, very interesting idea when you're trying to get your hands more involved. And, a lot of that is field-based. I try and stay away from teaching methods, even though I'm well aware of most of the methods out there. I will apply some sort of method, but, what's funny about the golf instruction world is, you could be teaching something, and it could just so happen to be stack and tilt. You're like, oh man, I've been teaching that for years. I didn't know it was stack and tilt. So I would just caution anybody to fall down a rabbit hole of trying to emulate swings or copy certain styles, because it's a crapshoot. You've got the most recent video I did. I found 50 different versions of swinging a golf club, and I'm sure there must be at least 100 more. There's got to be 200 modalities on certain philosophies to swing a golf club. But the problem is that the golf swing has been around for how many hundreds of years? Golf instruction has been around for a couple of hundred years. I think the problem now is we're so technology driven. We have cameras, we have access to this stuff, that all of a sudden you can get very nitpicky on what you're trying to do. And in reality, you're only limited to what your body's capable of doing. So if you're trying to apply a swing method that is not for your body type or your body development, you can run into some very frustrating times. So I would just caution you to look at your swing. And I hope that you take away some information I'm going to try and provide you today, that you can work with your swing and try and emulate some stuff. So by getting your hands more involved, that's fine. Your hands more involved does not require your body to be more involved, but you are going to suffer on distance. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. Now, if we take a look at your face on, because your face on, tiny four press, not that bad. And you see that golf ball position is right where it needs to be, in my opinion. So that's really good. Your setup's really good. If we take a look at your right brace line, let's see how much do we move over. We don't move over much. That's good. But you can see that there's definitely a lack of turn. So I would encourage you. I mean, it doesn't look like you're getting probably 20 degrees of hip turn on the way back. Think about if you can get an extra 10 degrees. So if you can get to 25, 30 degrees, your hand position is going to be a lot deeper than what it is now. And you can still get your hands involved. That's fine. But any sort of increased rotation on your body will just exaggerate your distance tenfold. I would rather you have 10 more degrees of rotation and not rely on your hands as much, because your distance will really jump through the roof. You'll probably gain a full club's worth just by rotating a little bit more. And I say that because if you look at the lack of rotation here, I mean, you're still getting decent X factor, right? So the separation between the two. So right hip to left shoulder, right shoulder, right hip, left shoulder to left hip. So I can see you can at least separate the two. It's not like you're a brick. It's not like you don't have rotation at all. But if you can get those hips to open up a little bit more, that will definitely get that club deeper. So now all of a sudden, let's say if we can get you an extra 10 degrees. So there's your shoulders. So let's say if we can get your shoulders a little bit more. So let's say we get them to here. It's not going to require that much turn on your hips. So your hips can get to maybe there. Now all of a sudden we get a little bit more X factor involved. But that will now get your arm position up to here. Your club shaft will probably get over there. So now all of a sudden we've increased your angle. I don't know what degrees that is. That's pretty decent. Let's get a degree count up there and see. So that degree is going to be 20, let's call it 20 degrees. Okay, so we're going to give you an extra 20 degrees of club rotation, like club motion, and that's huge. So now all of a sudden 20 degrees of excess motion without moving your hands at all we've done is moved your hips. I think you're going to see a big difference, because as you come on down through, you can see already your hands now have to just make up all that room, right? So you do a good job of getting your hands involved, but it's slightly disconnected. So even at this position here, you would like at the bare minimum for your hands to be, what am I doing here? For your hands to be connected there. So they're just a little bit off. So I think if you just get your hips more involved, it will definitely help it. I will try and straighten the right leg on the backswing more. Yeah, it's, just put a club shaft. One of the drills I used to do with my students is I'd take an alignment rod. I don't know if you have an alignment rod, and just put an alignment rod in between your belt buckles, right? So you have those loops. So just put an alignment rod in the loops, and then just see how much turn you can get without you feeling uncomfortable or hurting yourself. It might be your hamstrings might be tight. I don't know how flexible you are. Doing simple hamstring stretches might help you out, but there should be no reason, even at 70, 71 years old, there should be no reason why you shouldn't have that reduced turn unless something is, physically setting you back. So that's why I asked you if that's the case. But I think I'm going to challenge you, Stephen. I want you to do this. I want you to get more rotation with the hips. See if you can just get them. Don't change anything else. You can still stand up. That's fine. Get your arms involved. That's fine. But just get those hips a little bit more involved. That will also help you with some weight transfer to help you get more of your body involved. Because without any hip turn, it's very hard to get your weight transfer, because now all of a sudden you're going to be sliding all over the place. We don't want you to slide. But that hip turn, if I turn my hips, my shoulders will turn with it. And just by you turning, we'll start to enact some weight distribution. So now you'll get a little bit more body involved, and you'll be able to push off it a little bit more. So at the worst case, you might come back and your hands will be here, a little bit of pressing into the golf ball, which is what we're after, instead of, scooping and throwing it up in the air. And I think it's just going to help you. So give that a try. Let me look at your other swings here 1 second. This is the driver swing. So I just want to make sure we have the driver swing. Okay, somewhere here. I just hope my computer doesn't blow up. Yeah, so even here, so you can see. So there, you get some decent hip turn there, and your shoulders are definitely more. This one, it just looks like the weighting is stuck the wrong side. So for this guy, as you take that club back, you can see your upper spine angle is leaning the wrong way. It's leaning this way. You would like it to lean the other way. So let's see how you're set up here. Okay, so you're doing a good job here. At least you got this out here. Now, this forward press, I know you watch my videos, Steven. I know you watch them, so you know my philosophy on forward presses. It's kind of dangerous, specifically if you don't have a lot of hip turn. But let's take a look as you take that club back so we can see. Yeah. And I think they're standing up too. So when you start standing up and you're taking the club back, this is what will probably get you to lean this way. So I think it's very important to try not to stand up as much with the driver, or at the very least, maybe put the ball position out over here so it gives you plenty of time to recover. So at least they'll be more connected. So try less forward press with the driver. Let the club just sit naturally in your hands. So at the start of your swing, instead of getting this exaggerated forward press, just put the ball here. So let's move it. Where's that? 3 golf balls over. So that's where the new tee's going to be. You can level out your shoulders slightly. Let the hands just sit naturally, and then just let the club be there. So the hands won't be that much difference. Just move the ball position up. That might help you get some weight distribution too. And even if you do lean towards the target this way at the top, you won't have to untilt and fall back the other way. So a couple of setup changes for you. Setup changes do wonders. Hands need to be more back at address and ball position more forward. Yeah. And it's not necessarily the hands that much back. You can see the hands is mainly the ball. And you move the ball position up to here, the hands can sit where they are. You just straighten out that club shaft, and maybe just not as much tilt, But again, this is all just eyeballing it. I would have to look at your misses over and over again, and this is purely cause and effect. So my recommendation for you is driver, get the ball position 3 or 4 balls to your left side, pull the hands back slightly. If that means that you have to reduce the shoulder tilt, that's fine. Maybe sit more on the right side so you're not so left side heavy. So think maybe 70% on this right side, 30% left side, which will help you as you take that club back. If you preload your weight 70% this side, it's going to stay 70% and you'll get more of an arc like this. So now your spine angle is going to be ready for your club to swing up. Because remember, wherever your spine angle is pointing, that's basically how your hands are going to move, right? So if you have a spine angle, just for argument's sake, let's say your spine angle is like this, which we know it isn't, but let's say it's like that. Your arms and your hands are going to be working their way down, which is okay for an iron, but for a driver, you want to be up here, so then your arms and hands can be working their way up. So you want to swing up on the driver. So ball position will definitely help you swing up. Feel like the weight's more right side to start with, and then just get more turn and see what happens. Irons, don't necessarily change it. Your setup's really good with the irons. Just get more turn and see if that helps you out. So just making sure. Reverse K. Yeah. Yes. Hopefully that helps you, Steven. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of it right now. I'm loaded with medications in my tea, so I'm trying to keep up with it. Didn't want to disappoint you guys today, so we're gonna see it through. Make sure this thing works out. So hopefully that helps you, Steven. Let me know if you need anything else. Let me know in the comments, or just send me another email.
So many thanks to Tony for analyzing my swing and helping many, many golfers out there. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel, Lion Golf Academy. And you might even send in your swing for analysis.